Hi there, it's Yin Yoga in the bunny room. There's the bunny. I'm bringing my tea today. So, most of the Yin classes have a lot of the same stuff in them, just a different order. So feel free to make your holds longer or shorter. You know, yoga is self-inquiry, and people said to me, oh, I hate being in solitude, and everyone wants to do Zoom, which is wonderful. But it's a great time to retreat and reflect and do self-inquiry. Yoga is a very quiet, introverted practice. We've kind of gotten away from that, so this is a great time to just get with yourself, feel your emotions, whether you consider them to be negative or positive, and just watch them come and go. So don't mind me with the tea. So we're going to just start on your backs, and I hope you can hear and see me pretty good. And just going to start by rocking the knees together. You want to let gravity be your helper, so just go with gravity sinking into the floor, letting your knees rock side to side. Practicing letting go. The most profound practices are very simple. So instead of going outward, we just drop inward. The legs just glide. You can glide the knees like this for 2 minutes even, especially if your back has been bothering you or feels pretty stiff. This assimilates your sacrum gliding back and forth as if you were walking. You can turn your head slightly to one side or the other as you glide the knees. And really concentrate on relaxing, letting go. You'll feel things holding, and then with your mind's eye you can soften, be it a thought, an emotion, or a physical holding. And just 2 more times. And then start to come back to center and bring your feet closer together. And we're just going to lift up the right foot and bring it across the left knee. Bring that left heel into your buttock a little closer if you can. And you can reach up and hold your ankle, dropping the foot over to the left, over toward the floor. And the right arm comes up over your head about 90 degrees. And just relax here. The knee stays straight up. You can push the knee away if you want. But just relax here, about 10 breaths. The holds will be 1 to 3 minutes. I'm not timing them today. If you're at a point as you're practicing and you want to pause and hold longer, by all means, you can even have your phone there and do your own timing. The head can be turned to the right or left. I like turning my head on these away from the arm that's up. Eyes can be open or closed. Now from here, just lift the bottom knee up just enough so you can slide the right foot under, coming to eagle twist. And from here, for me, sometimes it's too much in the top arm. You can keep the arm there, that's fine, but you can also put a blanket or pillow underneath the right shoulder. Also, you can put your fist under the front knee or a block under the knee, which is nice to bring a block under there so that the back shoulder is not as stressed or drops down a little bit. If the intensity is too much, feel free to underdo, drop it back a degree, let it open. And then as it opens, you can always move the block. if you feel like you're tightening in the asana, you can just notice that and soften from that point, and then just come back up, and we'll bring the feet back down, maybe lift the hips up and roll the hips back down onto the floor, and then we're going to bring the other ankle across, ankle over the knee, slide the bottom heel up closer to the buttock if you can, right hand to the ankle, opposite hand, opposite ankle, and drop the foot over, keeping the same shape, so the knee is up, lifting up the other arm. In my case, it's the left arm. I'm not going to mirror you, I'm just going to say what side I'm doing so it doesn't get confusing. You can stay just like you are, but you can always turn your head.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm doing.
Just take a couple more breaths here. Now from here, lift up the bottom knee a little bit and just slide the top leg under, coming to eagle twist. You can see on this side how my elbow and shoulders way up. So a lot of times what I'll do is just bring a block initially under the knee until the spine opens, so the arm can soften down a little bit more. You can release the block out at any time. That opens up. So with your mind's eye, you're just paying attention and trying to back off where you need to and knowing when you can deepen. So a lot of really good listening to your body. Breathing into the back of the ribs. Now from here, just gently come back and bring your knees up and just give them a little hug. You could hold the knees, the shins, or interlock, and just soften here. So try to really let go in each place you come to, each asana you arrive at, softening the bones of the spine into the floor, the back of the shoulders. Now from here, start to bring your feet up, taking the inner edges of the feet or the outer edges, either way. And then soften your sacrum down. If this feels like too much initially, you can always have your hands on the shins and relax here. Ideally, you drop down your tailbone toward the floor, your sacrum to the floor. You might even have a teeny bit of a neutral spine lumbar curve if you really push down through the tailbone a little bit. And again, you know what to do, you relax. It's a little different if you hold it inside the feet. I have a teacher that likes to teach with the hands on the inside, and it does really change the asana. Maybe you do a little bit both ways. And keep coming back into paying attention to what you're doing in case something picks up, like some tension or whatnot. letting the nervous system calm down. Allow yourself just to be with what is in this moment, especially if you're really freaking out right now about finances and stock market and the virus and all that. It's always something as long as you're alive. And then from here, we're just going to bring the knees down and extend the legs out. I'm going to scoot up a little bit so for X person. So the legs are pretty wide apart. You have a lumbar curve, and the arms stretch out for a big X. Now here, we're just going to take the left leg and bring it over to the right and just slide the ankle across the right. You might have to lift up and get your right buttock out of the way, and then hands behind your head, and just see if you can bend your torso. You can kind of inch your way over a little bit more to the right, so your right elbow is reaching down toward the feet. Now my feet are touching the wall here, so that's to my benefit. I can use the wall as a prop to keep my legs from moving. So it's banana pose, bananasana, something like that. And just breathe here. So we're opening the fascia a lot along the sides of the body. So the fascia is very thick along the sides. Also getting into the meridians there. I'm practicing right now, just waiting till a release happens. Sometimes you'll practice and you'll feel pretty released and comfortable, and then other times you'll do the same practice and feel very tight and stuck. And that's just depending on what you've been up to. Maybe you've been working out in the yard a lot, maybe it's the time of day. And then bring the left leg across out to the side. And then just add the right leg across. Now for me, I'm a little getting stuck under that left cheek, so I have to lift up. Sliding the ankle across, elbows behind, bending the elbows to the left. And as you're there, just breathe, try to breathe into the sides of the ribs. And bend a little bit further if you can. Just take a couple deep breaths in the sides of the ribs. Feeling the breath move in, feeling the breath move out. Again, any holding that you have, just notice it. Try to soften against it. Try not to call it names. You can also bring your feet up on a block here, which will hold your feet a little bit more in place. And just take about 2 more breaths here. Play around with the direction of your head. Now from here, we're just going to curl onto the left side, into the knees. And just curl around, and as you curl around, we're going to come up and come around and just come right into child's pose. I'm going to have my blocks nearby. Have your blocks nearby if you want to use them. And just come over, stretching the arms forward. I'm in a wide child's pose, not real wide, but my knees are definitely open. Feels more comfortable for me. You can also bring your hands to prayer and walk your elbows forward. Coming to prayer hands. You can also put your elbows up on blocks if you like here. And just take a few more breaths here. The elbows, if you're using the blocks, you'll have a little space in between for your head.
I'm sad that I didn't stay in June because all my friends were up here.
Now just take about 5 or 6 more breaths here. Now from here, we're just going to walk the hands over to the right, coming over to the right with the hands. You can stretch the arms out here. You can hold the elbows. But another variation that I'm going to give is to bring your left elbow up on the block, right arm on top, and let your head go onto the arms so you're stretching the side bodies here a little bit. And just breathe there. If this is too intense, just stay over to the side with the arms released. And then start to walk your hands over to the other side, over to the left. And hang out here. You can always bring your elbow up on a block. If you did the other variation with the Gomukhasana arms, the right arm comes down, left arm on top, and you let your head go into it a little bit. And probably do this without a block as well. It's a little nicer, I think, without the block, or just simply rest where you are over to the side. Big full breaths in the back of the ribs. And then just start to walk your way back around to the front. And as you come around, just stretch up. And you can use the locks here or not. Inhale, stretch up. And then round, tuck your toes. Spread the toes and bring the ankles towards each other and just round back to sit on the heels. And stretch your toes a little bit here. Soften. If this is too much on the knee, you can put a blanket between your calf and your thigh. And then we're going to come up to sit, and we're just going to come around. I'm going to turn my back to you for a minute. We're going to come up with the right arm. We're going to actually go ahead and reach and pull the left arm across and wiggle the hand up through the center of the back. And then the right hand comes over the top, either reaching for the feet. You can, fingers, you can hold on to your t-shirt. You can use a strap here. If it's too much on the toes, come off the toes or sit any way you like. Lift up through the thoracic spine. And then release the arms. You can always come back up onto the toes if you like, or maybe you've been up on the toes the whole time and it's time to come down. Take the right arm, bring the right arm across. Wiggle the fingers up the spine. The left arm comes up and over. Hook the fingers, or hold the t-shirt, or use a strap. Concentrate on softening, letting go. Releasing the hands. Now I'm going to turn back to face you. We're going to keep the right hand down by your side and go ahead and take a block to the left side, or if you're mirroring me, do whatever you're going to do. And you can always lower the block or have it up and just lean your weight into the block. You can have the block out a few inches. I find a few inches out instead of being close is a little better. And just hang here. And then sweep across with the elbow, letting the forearm hang. And just breathe here. Let your weight go down into the block. You can be up higher if that feels better. Lower if it feels better, or in between. The hips lean out to the side a little bit. Releasing the hand. Open the fingers so the thumb's up. Roll the shoulder blade down. Now turn the thumb down and bring the hand right behind your tailbone and let your neck open. You can tip the chin up here. Drop the top of the shoulder. Now from here, come up just a little bit. Reach out through the fingertips. Roll the shoulder blade down a little bit. And pull down through the fingers to come up. Bringing your block to the other side. And bring the hand to the block. Let your ear hang. The hip goes out a little bit. Put a little weight down into the bottom hand. And then start to sweep across. Leading with the elbow, the forearm is hanging. The knees, if it feels better to have the knees a little separated. Sometimes just taking a small adjustment can make the posture feel very different. And just breathe here. And then start to drop the hand, take toward the floor, and then open the fingers side. Roll the shoulder blade down. Open the shoulder blade down in the back. Turn the thumb down, hand to your tailbone or sacrum there, and just let the neck stretch. If it feels better to be up a little higher, you come up higher out of it. Sometimes being up higher changes the whole quality of the asana. So just because maybe you can go all the way down, maybe your hand touches the floor, but maybe that's not the most beneficial place. So you're trying to find the most beneficial place. Sometimes it's like, what does that mean? Just a few more breaths here. Let go. Let go of any preconceived notions of how you think your path is supposed to go. And then start to open the fingers side and pull down to come up. And as you come up, we're just going to come around and stretch back to child's pose one more time with blocks or without blocks, but have them around. Soften. A couple big full breaths in the back of the ribs. Breathe all the way into the back body there. And then just start to come back up and tuck your toes and widen out the feet. So we're going to go to wide, short dog. And if you have your blocks around, you can use your blocks, stretching your arms forward, coming up to the fingertips. And then releasing the arms, holding the elbows and dangling. Now if this is too much on your back, Bend the knees. You can bend the knees a lot, yeah. Let the weight of the elbows draw the spine long. And we'll be here a little bit longer. You can continue to dangle with the elbows or let your arms hang. Or if you'd like to interlock your arms and let gravity draw them over. Breathe in through the nose. You can breathe out of the mouth if that works better for you. Now from here, release your arms if they're up, bend the knees, and stick your bottom elbows up to the knees. Find a neutral spine so you have a little natural lumbar curve and cervical curve, and come down to your squat, right down to your squatting. I'm going to turn side a little bit. You can bring your elbows inside, lifting the chest, and you just soften the armpits in. It's as if you're retracting your armpits. Feeling the outer edges of your feet and the outer edges of your hips drawing back. So the outer edges of your hips draw back. Then some people squat with their feet will be a little more parallel. Some people will be a little more open. So my squat might look really different than your squat. So everyone's squats are different. You can sit up on your block here or a couple blocks, which is really nice. And then if you want to hang over, you can hang over. You can even do this sitting up on a chair, sofa, what do you call that thing? Ottoman. If you were hanging over, you come back up and try to get a little more neutral again. Just for a second. Plug the armpits in. And then from here, if you're on a block, come up, get off the block. Or if you need to straighten all the way up, you can do that. We're going to come back to sit and bring the feet forward. So the feet are wider than the sit bones, dropping the knees to the right. And then over, knees to the left, just flopping. And knees to the right. And knees to the left. So you want to keep that lumbar curve. And then flop to the right. This time, take your left arm and come all the way around. Reach around for the right shoulder. Look back as far as you can. Keep your eyes going. Come back to center. You lean back on the hands, pass to center. Drop the knees over and sweep around. Try to keep a flow. Even if you hit a bump in the road, don't stop. Just like if you were driving, if you hit the bump in a road, if you stop for every bump in the road, you would never go anywhere. And then over and sweep the arm around. And one more time, come back around. Now this time we're going to flop to the right and bring the right shin parallel to the front of your mat or the back of the mat, the end of the mat. And then roll the right inner thigh back and come over that leg. Come over the leg. You can be up on blocks here. But you have a 90-degree angle in that right shin. We'll have a sip of tea. If you need more stretch, walk your hands more to the left. You can pull the right elbow out or stretch the right arm out. But you can also chug back the back leg, the left leg back a little bit. Some people that have been doing this for a while or that are pretty open in their hips will just tuck their toe and the knee will point down. It took me a long time to be able to do that. So this is pretty much a pigeon pose. And you can stay here. If you want to come up and slide the front foot back a little bit and come over to pigeon, you can. But don't be in a hurry. You can stay in these asanas for months, years, there's no hurry. If you're in pigeon and you need a little more in that front hip, you can come onto the left forearm and twist to the right, twisting into the knee that's bent. Either here, some people like to come all the way down, sliding onto their shoulder, and you can even put your head on a block or your hand and breathe there in a twist. And then from here, we're going to come up in a minute, but you can always stay in the posture right from where you start. You don't have to change it. I just want to keep saying that. Now from here, we're just going to lift up and we're going to join the front leg to the back leg. So we're going to come up and we're going to join the front leg to the back leg to the front leg. So the knees kind of stack up, and then we're just going to widen the feet and come back to sit between the feet. Now, if that's hard to do, just keep the right leg forward, bring the back leg around. So bring the back leg around, and the back leg goes behind the front leg. So you're either here, and you slide the knees together, open the feet and sit down. So it's Gomukha Asana. So I'm going to give you a couple variations here. The knees can stack with the feet back. The knees can be stacked with the feet out. This is called shoelace. The shins go straight across. Or you can bring the foot across, ankle to knee, with the foot on top, or just take the right ankle and bring it underneath the left knee. So that's a bunch of different ways. And you can also bring the shin up. If you have a knee issue or it just feels better to you, bring your shin up on a block or a bolster or pillow. So I'm going to work in shoelace. I haven't done this in a while. So that the knees are pulled way out. And then just start to come forward over the legs and just breathe here. Feel free to use your blocks. Put your head on the block. Now from here, gently start to come up. Then you'll hold those for however long. So the leg that's on top is staying on top, or the leg that's in front is going to be the one that comes up. So we're going to pick up the right knee, slide the left leg forward for a twist, and just hug that knee in and just take a nice twist around to the right or into the front leg. And just breathe into the back of the ribs about 5 or 10 times. You can move on the exhales, deepening on the exhales. Now start to come back to center. And we're going to pick up the leg that's in front, that's your right leg, and bring it behind. Bending, now we'll have the left shin parallel to the front or the end of your mat. Take your hand, roll the left thigh back toward the floor, and then we start to come over the leg. So just what we did on the other side. So we're coming over the leg, maybe walking the hands a little bit toward the foot. Breathing here. The back leg, you can slide it back a little bit if you're getting a cramp in there especially. Feel free to use blocks under your elbows so you'll be higher up. A lot of times being a little higher up, even if you can go down, I said that before, can really make the asana feel better or more effective or more beneficial, whatever. You can pull out to the left elbow. Either staying here or maybe tucking the back leg and sliding it back a little bit or a lot of it. Continuing right where you are. Maybe you kept the knee in and you haven't changed it that much, that's fine. Or you can come up onto the hands. You can slide the front foot back a little bit, coming up to a pigeon. Eventually in pigeon, the hip will be down and the back leg will be down. But it takes a while to open that. The asana prior will really help open all this fascia up through the side body. Opening the energy pathways, the meridians opening. The nervous system starts to calm down. You don't have to know all this. You just go by experience. How you feel when you practice. You can always practice on your own. Practicing is important to practice on your own. All alone by yourself. You can come onto the right forearm and twist. You can come all the way down if you like. This one's hard for me, coming all the way down. You can support your head on a block or your hand. And start to make your way back up. Now we're going to come up, and again, you can stay with your weight on the left hip and just slide the right leg around and cross the leg under, coming around. But if you can lift up, you can just simply lift up and you slide the knees together. You just inch them together and come back to sit, widening out the feet. If you took shoelace, feet back. If you're keeping it a little tighter in, ankle to knee or ankle on your bolster, or the front ankle comes underneath the front knee so that the ankles and knees are stacked. Decide what you want to do. I always do the same thing, so I'm changing it up today for me. And then soften and start to come forward. Relax the groin, soften the face. You can always bring your blocks into it. Blocks, if you need to extend the spine a little bit more, you can always bring your elbows up on blocks. If you really listen to your body, it's going to tell you. It's going to tell you. Maybe not in words. We wait for people to tell us how to do it. How to do things all the time. Yoga's opposite of that. It's us trying to figure it out. The teachers will give you suggestions, but then you have to figure it out. Relaxing the groins, make sure you're not holding deep in the groins. A couple more breaths here. Now from here, gently start to come up. And as you come up, just lean back a little bit. The leg that's on top or crossed in front, we're going to bring that knee up. So for me, it's the left knee. Bring the left knee up and just hug it in. Lift the spine a little bit, no big deal. And you can bring your left hand behind for support and just breathe here. The elbow can be here. Some people like to bring the elbow across or the hand to the hip. And then release back to center. And this time we're just going to pick up the front leg and bring it open out to the side for wide legs. Now at this point, if you have a wall nearby, I happen to have a wall nearby, you can bring your hip into the wall and slide your legs up the wall and do the whole thing with the legs apart like this, which is quite nice. You can continue at the wall. If you've decided not to use the wall, you're out here and you're leaning forward. We'll be here a little bit longer so we have time. They look the same. The asanas are similar, but they really feel different whether you use the wall or come forward. They really do open different meridians too. You can stack a couple blocks and lean into the blocks. Come over the blocks. Or a bolster. My head's probably cut off, but who cares? Now, if you're at the wall, start to come down. And if you're in the middle here, just start to come back up, just easy. And if your props are in the way, just move one out of the way. And we're going to bring, if you need to bring your hands behind to lift up the back, lifting up the chest. And then from here, we're going to just lift under the knees and bring the feet around. And we're just going to roll down onto your backs, one vertebrae at a time. And then when you get down here, roll the upper arm bones down so you have a lumbar curve. Let the knees open out to the side. The arms can rest over your head or on your belly or down by your side. I like mine up. If it's too much, you can just pause and wait and let yourself have a little more clarity about what's happening. Maybe just relaxing into it the first few moments reveals, how intense it is. Or the minute you start to see the way it is, it's already changed. So just maybe wait. If you need props, though, by all means, bring them in. Let your mind relax. Let your jaw relax. Just another couple breaths here. This class will probably be about an hour and 15 minutes. Now, one more breath. Now, you can use your hands to help the knees come up, but we're going to just come up, and as the knees arrive, heel toe the feet apart and knock the knees in for a second. Roll the upper arm bones down, kind of lengthen the spine across the floor so that maybe you have a little traction in the tailbone. And then from here, let the knees open and heel toe out so the feet are about as wide as your mat. And let's drop the knees over to the right so that this is called Jimasana. So you have the right shoulder, right hip, left shoulder, left hip, left knee, straight down in a line, left arm over your head. And if the right leg needs to slide down a little bit, slide it down and just breathe here. I like to turn my head to the right. This is another one I like to turn my head away from the shoulder, but it's totally up to you. Maybe you want to turn it in or straight up. You can heel toe the left thigh back a little bit. If you need more opening on the left ribs, you bend your torso to the right. As you practice on your own, I really encourage you to do practicing on your own. So that you can just be alone with yourself and breathe and feel and with whatever's arising. You can bring your right foot across the left knee if you like. You don't have to if that feels like too much. Just keep it down. You can also put a block under the knee. Drop the foot off. We're going to be here for about another minute or minute and a half. You can stay right here if you decide that you want to be here. But if you're okay and you want to continue to work towards half saddle, you roll a little bit over to your right side and come up onto your elbow and lift up and pull that left foot towards your left buttock. So it's close into the buttock. I'll turn this way so you can see me. So the foot's in toward the buttock like so. And you can come over to your elbow. You can put the right foot down, scoop the tailbone under and just be here. You can come onto both elbows, coming back. You can also work really a lot higher up. For me, higher up means deeper on this particular one. Just being up to here. The foot's almost underneath the buttock. Yeah, some people can even do that, lift up and come over. If that feels like too much, stay away from it. Stay over to the side. Don't force it. Some people like to go all the way down. Like I said, for me, I get more up. I can go down, but I get more being up. You can come down. Some people will be here. If you've been doing this a while, JP, hug the knee in. If you need even more, you take the foot and you stretch it out to the side, up over toward the outside of the body. So that's, pretty wild, but not necessary. But if you've been doing it a long time, you might need a little more challenge. Couple more breaths. Allow yourself to let go. I got a buzz. I needed my hair cut, so I buzzed it last night. Now one more breath here. And then start to lean back over to your right. I'm going to come back onto my original direction. I don't know if that'll make a difference. And then bring that knee up and just roll back onto your backs again. And just take a minute, knock the knees in. Lengthen your spine out. So pull the spine long. Take a couple breaths there and let go. So don't wait to let go. Just go ahead and let go. So you don't want your energy to get stuck. Just continue to let it flow. Doesn't mean you're not going to have all kinds of intense emotions and whatnot. A lot of times we'll push them down because they don't feel good and we want to feel good. But it usually does the opposite. Yeah. Now open the feet a little wider, feet about as wide as your mat. Drop the knees to the left side now. Now the right leg's back is straight down. Heel to the right foot back so the shoulder, hip, and knee are in line. The right arm comes over the head. Elbows bent. You can turn your head to the left if you like that, or keep the head straight up. And again, if you need more opening on the right side of the rib cage, you can bend your torso to the left. Maybe you just need that on one side. Maybe you have scoliosis and you're really shorter on one side and you need to open the fascia up a little bit more on that side. This is a good thing to do for that, is to bend to the side. Now you can stay here. If you'd like to bring the foot on top, you can. But you want to make sure the right knee is back pretty far, so it's not forward of the knee. You can even put your heel under the knee. Like my heel under my knee feels good sometimes. I hope it's not too dark in here. Just one more breath here. And you can, now, like I said, you can stay here, or you roll a little bit over to the left and push up to come up, and you can stay on your left elbow there and pull the right foot back toward your buttock, coming onto your elbows. You can lift up and scoop your tailbone here. Your elbows could be up on your blocks if you like, or you can stay over to the left. Some people, this is a nice place too. I don't have my other blocks over there, but you can also put a block underneath the upper back and one under the head. So you're here, or a bolster. To me, it feels great, but it kind of takes away from the pull through the fascia. So it's up to you. Now one more breath here. Now from here, we're going to keep this right leg back. So the leg that's bent is the leg that stays back. Maybe you have the left. And then we're going to just come over to the side and walk the hands around and come forward and just walk that right leg back. Tuck and chug it back. Tuck and chug. I hope it's not too dark. Well. And then just one hand on either side of the foot here. Just breathing here. You can have the hands to the inside, coming to the elbows, or your elbows on a block. Let the upper back hang. You can always stay up and have one hand on either side of your knee, which is really wonderful. I kind of prefer that myself, but it's changing. Yeah, it's always changing. Now you can stay here. If you added the back, if you like to add the back foot, you can keep the upper back relaxed and bring the back foot in. This is not a back bend. You're letting the upper back go. We'll be here 30 more seconds. Any variation that you know of that you would like to take, you can come into that. Some people like to come up and turn the toes, the left toes out to the side and roll onto the right hip. That we call it Gitasana for after Gita. Opening the side of the hip here. You can stay right where you are. Opening the front of the hip. Now from here, we're going to start to lift up and bring the hands to the inside if they're not, and we're going to bend the right knee and swivel it around so that right knee turns out and the hands are right in front here. And then I'm going to continue to walk my hands to the right. And if you have a block, you might want to use it. The right hand, right knee, right hand, and then the left leg all on one plane slides out, and then we're going to sweep across with the top arm, the left arm, and turn that left leg out if you can, and breathe here. You can turn your head down. If the block is too high, you can always drop it down or get rid of it altogether. Now from here, just one more breath. As you go, you might start up high and get lower and lower. Now we're going to drop the arm and just come around. We're going to just swivel around, bringing the left knee down and stepping the right foot forward. And then we'll be in our dragon pose on the other side. You can tuck and chug the left knee back. One hand on either side. just let the upper back go. You can always put padding underneath the back knee if you need to. Relax the belly here too, because the belly, sometimes you're holding, it'll be a holding in the psoas, deep in the gut. Now from here you can come around and bring your elbows to a block if you did so. Or you can stay upright. If you're so inclined to bend the back knee up, you can come across with the forearm. Sometimes that feels better. And reach for the foot and draw it in, letting the upper back go. You don't have to do these variations. Now for the last 30 seconds, anything that you want to do, maybe you come back, maybe you're here and you want to stay here. If you turned out the front foot, the foot points away from you, you can heel toe the foot down a little bit. You can roll onto the outer edge of your left hip, staying up on the hands. Or if it's a lot on your, I didn't say this on the other side, but I have said it in other classes. Whoops, you can come up to your elbow on a block. If I do this, I usually stack a couple blocks. When you think you've let go a little bit more. Now from here, we're just going to walk back around with the hands, walk the hands to the front side of the mat, turn the left leg out, slide the right foot out, so the right heel's in line with the left knee, left hand out to the side. Everything on one plane, and then sweep across the right arm. So you want to be straight up and down over that bent knee there, straight up and down, so you're not doing a split. You're not sliding out unless you intentionally want to do that. Then you feel the right leg turn out, pull from the elbow to the outer edge of the foot. A little longer here. You can always lower the block as you open up. It's nice to kind of lower down a little as you go. Just take about 2 more breaths here. And then start to release the arm and come around and step that right leg around, wide your knees, and come back for wide child's pose. Pretty wide as you can get it. Coming on down. And just taking a few breaths here. Pretty wide so that you feel a little stimulation in the groin. Now you can stay right here the whole time. If you want to take a twist with this, you come up on the left hand and slide the right shoulder across. You can put your head on a block if you like. And so you kind of slide your right shoulder a little bit across the midline toward the left side. You can push down to the left hand for support. And then start to come back up if you're twisting. And then come up to the right hand and slide the left shoulder across. If you're not twisting, just stay center. And try to bring the shoulder a little bit across the midline, just a little bit. couple more breaths. Now easy does it from here. Start to come back around and just put weight in your hands and walk your knees back together. Don't drag them, but walk them, especially when they've been open. And from here, inhale. I'm going to turn this way because I can't see what I'm doing like I need to. Now inhale, stretch up with the chest. Exhale, round, come up to the fingertips and reach your hips back towards your heels. Inhale, round up. Look to your navel. Walk your hands forward about an inch or two. Lift your tail. Lift your hip. And then bring your hips forward. Hips forward. Now once you get here, tuck the toes and chug the legs back. And come all the way down. And come into, actually I don't want you to do that yet. Come all the way down. Hands, forehead onto your hands. Bend the knees up. And just wag a few times. Just let your legs wag side to side. Let the hips move. Now we're going to do the arms, opening the arms a little bit before we go to Sphinx pose. So go ahead and tuck your toes and slide them down, slide the legs down, and come out. Let's do the left arm first. I hope you can see me. The left arm is out about 90 degrees, not really 90, a little higher. The elbow's a little higher than the shoulders. So you're coming onto the left cheek. Lift up the right leg. Keep the leg turned out and bend the knee and bring it across. Now, if this feels like too much to do this, and maybe you've had surgery on the shoulder or you have something else going on, you can do this without lifting the leg. You can just bring the arm out to the side and just let it rest there. Just take a few breaths here. And then release and bring that leg down. And change arms, bringing the right arm out about 90 degrees. The elbow actually higher than the shoulder. Coming onto the right cheek, left hand down. And then start to lift up the left leg. So you turn the leg out, the leg turns out, the knee opens up. And come over the side. I think my gut's hanging out there. And just breathe here. If you need to slide the elbow up a little higher, you can. And like I said, you can do this whole thing down without bringing the leg across. Just breathe. Concentrate on letting go. Concentration just means drawing into the center, coming into the center. Now start to come back around and stretch the leg back. And tuck your toes, maybe stretch the legs out again. And now you come up to Sphinx pose and just hold Sphinx for a little while. So Sphinx pose, you're just sinking down between the shoulder blades. You can let your head go here. I got a clock over there. If you're hanging here and you want to add the legs into it, you can bend the knees up and let your feet fall to the outside. So the legs have a little inward rotation. So you're letting your upper back go and the legs inward rotate. Relax your buttocks like crazy. Now from here, if your legs are up, start to bring the legs down. If your head's down, bring the head up. And either decide to stay in Sphinx Sphinx pose, or come up to your elbows on a block to here. Yeah. I used to like this one. I'm not liking it as much as I used to. I think it's because these blocks are so hard. Use a softer block if you can. You can do this with a bolster or a pillow, folded blanket. You can come up an inch or two, and you want to sink between the shoulder blades. Another way to do this is to have two blocks so that your elbows aren't so narrow. That kind of pinches the chest. It's better to have two blocks so the elbows are wide. My block's over there and I'm too lazy to get it. Now either stay here on your blocks for a little bit longer, or get rid of the block and slide your hands in, fingers point out a little bit, and come up to seal pose. And once you get to seal, sink. Same thing, sink. If you need to extend your legs, you can tuck the toe and shove the thighs back a little bit. If you want to add the throat into it, the platysma and the throat and all that, you can roll the upper arm bones back a little bit, sink down in the hips. So the upper arm bones roll back, the hips sink down. And you can lift your chin up. If you're not lifting your face up, just let your shoulders go. Let them sink. If you're lifting your face up, roll the upper arm bones back, drop the hips, and then lift up. Now wherever you are, maybe you're in Sphinx pose, maybe you're on the blocks, maybe you're up here, start to come down. Bring your elbows out to the front. Traction the bottom ribs forward. Don't worry, we're going to stretch the back in a minute. Palms come out, elbows lift. I hope you can see me. Elbows lift and pull the hands isometrically in. Now we're going to lift up the right hand, left leg, and take them out to the side and come center, lower down, and pull the arms into the back. Left hand, right leg out to the side, center down, and plug in. Right hand, left leg side, center down, and plug in. Left hand lifts, right leg, side, center, down. Now pull the arms in, plug them in. You'll get better at this. Pull them in, slide the hands back, palms up, press your fingers and nails down, lift the legs, lift the chest. Now either stay here right where you are, or you can bend the knees up, press the heels together, flex the feet, pulse up, 2, or stay right where you are, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Either stay here or take the ankles and float the shins up, drop down through the bottom rib. So you rock toward the bottom rib, lifting the feet, or just stay right where you were. The legs can stay down. 2 more breaths. If you're up here, 2 more breaths. Or here, 2 more breaths. And then extend the legs back. The hands come forward. Forehead comes on the hands. Bend the knees up. Widen the knees. Drop the knees to the right and go all the way so your feet are almost touching the floor. And then come back to center. Drop the feet all the way over to the other side. Let the hips go a little bit. And then come back up. And drop all the way over to the right. Feet almost touching the floor. So you're twisting. And then up and over to the other side. And then come up. Now bring the legs back and go ahead. I'm going to show you on this side. Bring the left knee way up. So the left knee's way up and come on to the right cheek. So you're stretching. You're not stretching anything. You're just releasing your back. And just breathe here. Now from here, slide down that left knee and then bring the right knee up and come onto the left cheek and just rest there. You can put your head any way you want it, but you're kind of on the cheek. And just breathe there. Two more breaths. I lied more than that. Now from here, just continue and just roll onto your back and just wiggle yourself onto your mat. So you just come on back onto the mat. And we're just going to bring the right knee up, slide the left leg down, and bring the right knee and thigh 90-degree angle, and bring the right arm out 90 degrees. So you have the right leg 90, right arm 90. The elbow's a little higher than the shoulder. And I have my block nearby. You can have a block or bolster nearby, and start to bring the shin or knee across so it comes over, but keep the right shoulder down. Yeah, so only go as far as you go, keeping the right shoulder down. I have my shin on a block right now. Feels great to me. You can look right or left here. I kind of like looking to the right here, into the arm, which is unusual. For me, I usually go the other way, but just breathe. You don't have to use a block. You can let the knee just hang and breathe there. Feel the outer edge of the top of the right hip rolling down, but the block under the shin is quite nice. Any holding, notice that, like for me, I was really gripping in my fingers, holding onto that knee. Yeah, so notice those places that don't appear to be that noticeable. And then from here, just easy does it. Bring the right arm into the ribs, bring the right knee up, come back onto your back. Bring the left knee up and pause here. Take a few breaths of just settling. And then start to extend down the right leg. And if you used your block, have it nearby. And bring the knee 90 degrees. 90 degrees. Left arm out. Bent elbow. The elbow's kind of 90. Your elbow's actually a little higher than the shoulder. And then come across. And here I go. I put my shin on the block, which is quite, like I said, it's pretty good. Yeah. And just breathe here. You can turn your head right or left. I like to turn my head into the left arm here, away from the front knee, the bent knee. Couple more breaths here. Now from here, again, bring the left hand to the rib cage, bring the left foot down, and go ahead and have your block nearby, or a blanket or a bolster, just in case you want to use it. So bring the feet down, arms over your head, Inhale a full breath into the back of the ribs, all the way down to the lower lobe of the lung in the back. Inhale. Exhale, roll up the hips. Stay here, inhale. Exhale, roll down upper back, middle back, and low back, expanding the back of the ribs. Inhale, back of the ribs. Exhale, reach the knees away, coming up, so you're coming up through an inclined plane, so it's more of an angle here. Exhale, inhale here. Puff up a little bit, exhale, roll down upper back, middle back, low back, arms come over your head. Lumbar curve, relax. Inhale, back of the ribs. Exhale, roll up. Interlock the hands, roll the shoulders under, tip the chin back, and just breathe here a few breaths. Let the hands come out, press down through the upper arm, tip the chin back, drop the pubic bone. So you tip the chin back, drop the pubic bone, press the upper arm bones. A few more breaths here. If you're working on wheel, hands come to the floor, top of the head, and you go straight up from there. Same posture, except the arms are straight. Or just stay right where you are, same posture, the elbows are bent. And then start to roll down. As you come down, easy does it, cross your ankles and take hold of the feet or your toes and soften here. About 5 breaths. Upper arms, lower back, all the ribs softening into the floor. A few more breaths here. Some people like to bring the ankles up over the forehead. You change the hands to the outer feet and let the hips lift coming up. If you like to work there for about another 5 breaths. Or if you're here, just stay here for another 5 breaths. 2, 3, 4. One more breath, 5. Change ankles and hang out. Sometimes it takes more concentration to just relax and be. So we just want to strengthen that quality. Especially now, it's real easy to get kind of hyped up like we're supposed to be doing a million things, but this is actually a gift, this time of retreat that we have. In your whole life, probably never get the opportunity to take a retreat like we can now. Don't feel in a hurry to fill it up. And then you can take your ankles and roll the feet up and breathe into the back. Or just stay right where you were for another 5 breaths. Now from here, we're just going to have your block or blanket nearby, or bolster. And you might need to lift up and bring the block underneath just to support the hips. And we're going to bring the knees in and stretch the legs back. Maybe your legs are higher up, that's fine. Maybe you have a strap here. And then you just let your hips stretch back. Hands can come on the tops of the feet here. You can even roll off the block. About a minute or so here, breathing into the back. If it feels better to you, you can think of pressing your thigh bones away from you a little bit, up toward the ceiling. Now you can stay here or bend your knees in. If you're taking full snail, you're up a little higher and the knees come down by your ears and you're here. The weight is still a little bit more in the upper back. Don't force anything. This is all at your own risk. Yeah, so you want to listen to yourself. You know, don't let your ego make you think you should be doing something a different way than other than what feels like it's working for you. You know, injury happens a lot because of ego. Yeah, believe me, I know. Now from here, you can start to roll down, and if you have a block or bolster under the hips, just push it out and roll down. In fact, it'd be nice if you did have a bolster or block or book, because it's nice to have your feet a little higher. I usually like to have a bolster here. I don't know where the heck my bolster is. We're just going to bring the feet to the block or bolster. It can be a pillow. And then roll the upper arm bones down. So roll the upper arm bones down so you have a little lumbar curve, and let the knees hang out to the side. The hands can be on the pelvis or overhead. And just breathe here. Now from here, easy does it. Bring your knees up. You can use your hands and just rest your heels over the edge of the block so that, and kind of roll your shoulders out, lengthen the spine on the floor. So there's a fair amount of weight going straight down from the knees into the sacrum, and let that weight just settle the low back, settle the sacrum into the floor. This can also be done if you have an issue with your back. You can bring your shins up on a chair. Here, 20 minutes during the day is fabulous. Legs up the wall. You can do your final relaxation with legs up the wall. Or feet stay right here on the block. Now from here, we're going to move into final relaxation. So you can just take your feet off the block or bolster, pushing it away, and let your knees knock in. If your back is tender, you can just stay like this with the knees knocked in for a while, breathing, or the knees straight up, just letting the low back settle more. Full Shavasana, if you want to plant the elbows, rolling the upper arm bones back, rolling them down, palms out. So you'll have a lumbar curve, your natural lumbar curve, extending the legs out for final relaxation. Or legs up the wall, or you can also bring your blocks under the knees. Or a bolster under the knees. And as you're here, you just want to let go for just about 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes. If your jaw is tight, open the mouth real big, look up into the eyebrows, and then let the face relax. I'm going to let you continue in Shavasana. It's getting kind of noisy here at my house, and somebody has explained that you might not want to hear in a different room. So be kind to yourself, be kind to each other, and continue on, and allow yourself to have space to feel your feelings, and have a retreat and practice yoga alone too. You know, don't feel in the hurry that you have to do it with a bunch of people. Traditionally, it was done alone and in solitude. So it's a beautiful thing to have that quietness and that peace. So namaste, and continue on your shavasana for as long as you like, for a pretty long time. Okay, see you next time.